The White House has had plenty of dogs, but a surprising number of presidents were secret cat people. So which ones actually kept cats? Number 1. Abraham Lincoln. Honest Abe wasn't just the first president to keep cats in the White House. He was a genuine, hopeless cat lover. His 2 cats, Tabby and Dixie, were a gift from his Secretary of State, and Lincoln adored them. He was known to feed Tabby from the table during formal White House dinners, and he'd scoop up stray cats wherever he found them, including 3 kittens he rescued while visiting a Civil War battlefield. His wife once said plainly that cats were her husband's only hobby, and Lincoln himself joked that Dixie was smarter than my whole cabinet. Given some of the cabinets in history, he may have had a point. Number 2. Rutherford B. Hayes. President Hayes and his wife Lucy earned a genuine footnote in American history because they owned Siam, the very first Siamese cat ever documented in the United States. Siam was a gift, sent all the way from the American consul in Bangkok, who'd heard that First Lady Lucy Hayes was a devoted cat lover. The little cat made the long ocean voyage to Washington in the 1870s. Sadly, Siam fell ill and passed away not long after arriving, but she'd already made history as the cat that introduced an entire breed to America. And real quick, if you love these little pieces of history, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it makes a cat somewhere very happy. Number 3. William McKinley. This one is a personal favorite because McKinley had a pair of Angora kittens with the most ridiculous names on this entire list. He named them after a Spanish general and a Spanish ambassador who were in the headlines at the time. So these 2 fluffy kittens were officially called Valeriano Weyler and Enrique de Lome. Imagine standing in the White House at night, calling those names to get your cats in for dinner. Quick pause for a little housekeeping. Taking a quick pause to check out some patriotic pets on our Instagram, linked in the bio. Number 4. Theodore Roosevelt. Now, Roosevelt is famous for turning the White House into a full-blown zoo, but 2 of his most beloved animals were house cats. The first was Slippers, a gray cat who was famously polydactyl, meaning she had 6 toes on some of her paws, and who once plopped down right in the middle of a formal dinner procession, forcing a line of diplomats to simply walk around her. The second was Tom Quartz, named after a cat in a Mark Twain story, who was such a relentless little prankster that Roosevelt wrote a whole letter to his son describing how the kitten tormented the family dog. Number 5. Woodrow Wilson. Wilson isn't remembered as much of an animal guy, but he did keep a cat named Puffins, padding around the halls during his presidency. There aren't many stories about Puffins. No grand adventures, no scandals. Just a quiet White House cat doing quiet White House cat things, while the president steered the country through the First World War. Sometimes the best pets are the ones who leave no scandal behind, and Puffins clearly understood the assignment. Number 6. Calvin Coolidge. Silent Cal had one of the largest collections of animals in White House history. We're talking raccoons, a bobcat, even lion cubs. But tucked in among all of that, he also kept 2 ordinary house cats named Tiger and Blackie. In a house that basically doubled as a petting zoo, the 2 cats might have been the most normal residents there. While a raccoon named Rebecca was getting her own custom treehouse, Tiger and Blackie were just being cats, which, in that household, made them the sensible ones. Number 7. John F. Kennedy. There was very nearly a cat in the Kennedy White House. Tom Kitten belonged to little Caroline Kennedy, and for a short while he lived right there with the first family. Unfortunately, President Kennedy was badly allergic to cats, so poor Tom Kitten had to be rehomed to a friendlier, less sneezy household. When Tom Kitten later passed away, he actually received newspaper obituaries. Not bad for a cat who only briefly lived in the White House. Number 8. Gerald Ford. President Ford's daughter Susan had a Siamese cat named Sean, the second Siamese ever to live in the White House. Sean spent her days lounging around the residence. Reportedly, her favorite spot was under the bed in the Lincoln bedroom, and she stuck close to Susan and First Lady Betty Ford. The one catch? Shan apparently did not get along even a little bit with the family's golden retriever. Number 9. Jimmy Carter. Carter's daughter Amy had a Siamese cat with what might be the greatest pet name ever given to an animal, Misty Malarkey Ying Yang. That's the cat's full actual name. Misty was such a beloved little character that a jazz guitarist was inspired to compose an entire musical piece named after him. Not many cats can say they have their own song. And honestly, if you're still watching this deep into a video about presidential cats, you and I are the same kind of person. So go ahead and hit subscribe. We clearly belong here together. Number 10. Bill Clinton. And now we get to the most famous presidential cat of all time. Socks. Socks was a black and white tuxedo cat, adopted as a stray, who reportedly leaped straight into young Chelsea Clinton's arms one day after her piano lesson. In the White House, Socks became a full-blown celebrity. He got thousands of fan letters. He hosted the kids' version of the very first White House website, and he even had a book and a video game built around him. He was, without exaggeration, the biggest animal star in the country. The only real drama in Socks' life came later, when the Clintons adopted a dog named Buddy. The two never got along, and the president once joked he'd had an easier time negotiating peace deals than getting his cat and dog to coexist. Number 11. George W. Bush. President Bush had a quieter cat named India, nicknamed Willie, a black shorthair who lived in the White House for years, mostly out of the spotlight that the family's Scottish terriers, Barney and Miss Beasley, soaked up. India even made an appearance on the White House lawn one Halloween and lived a long, comfortable life of nearly 18 years. Number 12. Joe Biden. The most recent cat to call the White House home is Willow, a gray tabby. Willow earned her spot in dramatic fashion. She leaped up onto the stage during a campaign rally in Pennsylvania, completely interrupted the event, and simply refused to leave. The Biden family fell in love with her on the spot and adopted her. President Biden once said Willow had no limits, and she was known for sleeping right on top of the president's head at night, which is either a sign of deep trust or a small daily power move, depending on how you read cats. Before we wrap up, a quick honorable mention. Martin Van Buren technically had cats. If you count the 2 tiger cubs he was reportedly gifted by a sultan, though Congress made him give those up in a hurry, which is probably for the best, because a tiger is a lot of cat. And Ronald Reagan kept 2 cats, named Cleo and Sarah, but out at his California ranch rather than in the White House itself. So there you have it. From Lincoln's beloved Tabby to Biden's stage-crashing Willow, the White House has been home to some truly wonderful cats. When you consider that only 3 presidents in all of history had no pets at all, it turns out the most powerful house in the world has always been a pretty soft touch for a good cat. Dogs may get most of the headlines, but these cats clearly ran the place on their own terms. Which of these was your favorite? And are you team cat or team dog? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button for more, and I'll see you in the next one.